Imagine a teenager walking into court, everyone thinking she's guilty, the judge ready to dismiss her as just another troublemaker. But then, she opens her mouth, and the entire courtroom goes silent. This is the story of the girl who cross-examined the system. The night was cold in Brooklyn, New York. Streetlights glowed pale yellow against cracked sidewalks. 17-year-old Maya Johnson walked home after a late debate practice, her backpack heavy with textbooks. She wasn't a criminal. She wasn't even a troublemaker. Maya was the kind of girl who spent her nights reading case law instead of scrolling TikTok. Her mother, a nurse working double shifts, always told her, "Baby, knowledge is your shield." But that night, knowledge wasn't enough. As Maya passed a corner store, sirens wailed. Police cruisers screeched to a halt. An officer jumped out, pointing a flashlight directly in her eyes. "You! Stop right there!" Confused, Maya froze. Within seconds, she was handcuffed. Neighbors peeked through blinds, watching as officers shoved her into the back of a patrol car. The charge? Burglary and assaulting an officer. Maya's voice trembled as she tried to explain. "I was just walking home." But no one listened. The story was already written in their heads. Young black teenager, wrong place, wrong time. At the precinct, she learned the details. A convenience store had been broken into. A suspect had pushed an officer while running away. That suspect, they said, was her. Maya knew the truth. She hadn't broken into anything. She hadn't assaulted anyone. But her fingerprints were found on the store's door handle. Of course they were. She'd opened the door earlier that evening to buy a bottle of water. By morning, she was booked, photographed, and given a court date. Her mother, exhausted and worried, hugged her tight. "We'll get a lawyer, baby. Don't you worry." But when they met the public defender, Maya's stomach dropped. The woman was kind but clearly overwhelmed. Too many cases, not enough time. "It's not looking good," the lawyer admitted softly. "The prosecutor is tough. They'll argue you attacked an officer. The fingerprints don't help. Honestly, your best chance might be a plea deal." Maya's chest tightened. A plea deal meant admitting guilt for something she hadn't done. It meant carrying a record for life. She thought of her dreams. College, law school, becoming the very thing she admired most. A defender of justice. Number. She wouldn't let the system swallow her whole. The courtroom date arrived. The gallery was packed. Reporters scribbled notes, sensing drama in a case of a teenager accused of attacking police. Judge Harold Whitman, stern and impatient, looked down at Maya as though she was already guilty. The prosecutor, Robert Gaines, adjusted his expensive tie and smirked. He'd done this 100 times. To him, this was routine. But to Maya, this was life or death for her future, and she had no intention of going quietly. The courtroom buzzed with whispers as the trial began. Prosecutor Gaines stood confidently, painting Maya as a dangerous criminal. "Ladies and gentlemen," he told the jury, "the evidence is clear. Miss Johnson was caught fleeing the scene of a burglary. Her fingerprints were found on the store's entrance. An officer witnessed her resisting arrest. The state will prove beyond reasonable doubt that she is guilty." The words fell heavy, convincing. Some jurors nodded along. Maya's public defender rose next, her voice shaky. "My client, she maintains her innocence." She stumbled, lost in her papers. Maya's stomach sank. Judge Whitman frowned. "Miss Thornton, are you prepared to defend your client properly?" Before the lawyer could answer, Maya placed a hand on her arm and stood. Her voice rang clear. "Your Honor, with respect, I'd like to represent myself." The room froze. Gasps rippled. The judge leaned back, amused. "Represent yourself? You're 17. This isn't a high school debate club." Whispers spread. Reporters scribbled faster. Even Gaines chuckled. This should be interesting. But Maya wasn't playing games. "Your Honor," she said firmly, "the Constitution guarantees me the right to defend myself. I've studied law for years. I may not have a degree, but I understand trials, evidence, and procedure." The judge's smirk faded slightly. He tapped his gavel. "Very well. The court will allow it. But be warned, young lady, this isn't a playground. If you fail, it will be your future on the line." Maya nodded, unshaken. When it was her turn, She stepped forward. Her voice carried across the courtroom, calm yet powerful. The prosecution claims their evidence is clear, but I intend to show you that the truth has been twisted and the system rushed to judgment. Some jurors leaned in. They weren't expecting confidence from a teenager. The prosecutor scoffed. Objection, Your Honor. This is just theater. But Judge Whitman shook his head. Overruled. Let her continue. And for the first time that morning, the balance of power shifted. The courtroom wasn't laughing anymore. They were listening. Maya began with the officer's testimony. Officer Daniels claims he saw me fleeing the scene, she said. But where is the body cam footage? Isn't it department policy that body cams remain on during all arrests? The prosecutor stiffened. The footage was unavailable. Maya pounced. Unavailable or inconvenient? If I truly assaulted an officer, the video would prove it. Instead, it's missing. Why? Jurors exchanged uneasy glances. Next, Maya turned to the fingerprints. She held up a copy of the forensic report. The prosecution says my fingerprints on the door prove I committed burglary. But let's think about this. Hundreds of customers touch that door daily. Fingerprints don't tell you when they were left. I was a customer that evening, buying water, not stealing. She looked directly at the jury. Does touching something make you a criminal? The room was silent. Even the judge shifted in his chair. Then came the eyewitness. A store clerk had testified that the burglar was a young black teenager. That was all. Maya leaned closer to the witness stand. Sir, when you saw the suspect, how long did you actually look at them? The clerk hesitated. A second, maybe two. In the dark? While frightened, with sirens blaring? He swallowed. Yes. So you weren't certain? The man faltered. No, not completely. Gasps rippled through the gallery. The prosecutor rushed forward. Your Honor, this is irrelevant. The defendant matches the description, but Maya cut in, calm and sharp. No, mister. Gaines, I don't, because the original police report stated the suspect was wearing a red hoodie. I was wearing blue. That detail was conveniently omitted in court today. She held up the report. Proof. The courtroom erupted in murmurs. The prosecutor's face turned red. Judge Whitman banged his gavel. Order! But his eyes were different now. He wasn't smirking. He was curious. Maya had just dismantled half the state's case. The tension in the courtroom was thick enough to choke on. Maya wasn't done. She stepped forward, voice steady. Your Honor, I'd like to submit a statement from the store owner. It was filed the night of the burglary, but mysteriously excluded from the prosecution's packet. She read aloud. The suspect who pushed the officer was male, around 6 feet tall, wearing a red hoodie. I caught a glimpse as he ran. He was not female. The words landed like a thunderclap. Maya, 5'4", in a blue jacket, couldn't have been that suspect. The prosecutor stammered, Objection! This doesn't... Overruled, Judge Whitman said firmly. Counsel, why was this statement excluded? Gaines fumbled, sweating. Clerical error, Your Honor. But nobody believed him. Maya faced the jury one last time. Her voice was quiet, but it cut through the silence like a blade. The truth is simple. I was an easy target. Wrong place, wrong skin color, wrong assumptions. But justice is not about assumptions. It's about facts. And the facts say I am innocent. The jury stared at her, some with shame, others with admiration. Judge Whitman exhaled, leaning forward. This court finds the charges against Maya Johnson dismissed. The gavel struck. The sound echoed like freedom. The courtroom exploded. Some gasped, some applauded. Reporters dashed for the exits, ready to break the story of a teenage girl who dismantled the prosecution's case. Piece by piece, Maya's mother rushed forward, tears streaming, pulling her daughter into her arms. Baby, you did it. You really did it outside. Cameras flashed. Microphones surrounded her. Maya, how did you do it? What's next for you? She pulled up her backpack, smiling faintly. Law school, she said simply. One day, I won't just defend myself. I'll defend others who never get the chance. Across the street, Judge Whitman watched quietly. He had entered the trial certain she was guilty, but he left humbled. He realized the system he'd trusted so blindly had nearly destroyed an innocent girl. The lesson lingered. How many others had no Maya Johnson to fight back? Maya walked into the crowd, her future just beginning, and the world finally was paying attention.
If this story made you think, even for a moment, then share it. Because Maya's fight isn't just hers. It's about everyone who's ever been silenced by a broken system. Hit that like button, subscribe for more stories that matter, and remember, justice only works if we demand it.